Hello, and welcome to Live, Work, Thrive. I'm Makayla Birmingham from Scary Mommy. Tonight's special edition will be an intimate conversation about helping families thrive. With us tonight are Dr. Jill Biden, former Second Lady, educator, mother, and grandmother. Thank you for being here tonight, Dr. Biden.
Well, thanks. Thanks for the invitation to be here. So I appreciate it. So, thank you for hosting us today.
It's so wonderful to have you. And Dr. Biden is joined by Kellie Artis, mom and spouse of an active duty officer in the U.S. Army. Kellie and her two children live in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Welcome, Kellie.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. It's good to see you. I've been a fan of Scary Mommy for a very long time. And Dr. Biden, thank you for joining me. This is great.
You're welcome.
This
Thanks.
is wonderful. Thank you both. So now the pandemic has hit moms like us especially hard. From childcare to school reopenings, many of us are struggling. Dr. Biden, I'd like to turn it over to you for the first question.
Okay. So Scary Mommy speaks to so many moms out there who are intelligent, informed, and looking for some humor in what can be called, I guess, the most amazing and most frustrating role. So I want to thank you for creating this space for women to connect and for your support. And of course, I want to thank all the moms who have joined us. And Kellie, it's great to see you again. My gosh, I know that we had the chance to meet in Fayetteville, and I have my necklace on, and that that Hannah made for me. And so it's fun to get to flip the script a bit here and ask somebody else the questions. So first, tell me how you're holding up. And I know that being a military spouse and a mom, can be really challenging in the best of times. Mm-hmm. So how have things been for you?
It's been interesting. We kind of do this thing in the military spouse community where we don't want to one up anyone's hardship. We always kind of downplay it, but I know I'm speaking to a community of moms right now, and it's been real. It's been something. My husband actually deployed back in November. He left for a 4-month deployment to Afghanistan, and we thought, okay, cool. We'll get through the holidays. He'll be home in like February, March. Clearly that didn't happen. He made it home in July. So I did the bulk of like the early pandemic sort of stuff by myself. And it was kind of crazy. It was really stressful. It's stressful anyway, we call it the default parent. It's not solo parenting. It's not single parenting. It's we're the default parent. So all of the decisions kind of rest on our shoulders. And a lot of times it's not that big of a deal. It's kind of the minutia of parenting that just kind of wears you down. But this was different. These were big decisions. Little things like, do we go to the grocery store or not? Were a bigger discussion, bigger decision that I didn't necessarily have him to bounce off of and ask opinions of. Other big things were, just like, earlier on, it was, do we go to birthday parties or not? Or, do the kids go back to school, even if that is an option or not? And my biggest fear was, what if I get sick? And I'm sure that's something that a lot of moms were feeling, regardless of their situation, because mommy can't get sick. So my thing was, I can't get sick. Who would take my kids if I got sick? We didn't have family to rely on because that was dangerous. Normally I'll call in reinforcements from out of town if need be. And I didn't want to do that. Our network kind of shrunk really quickly. Our community that we rely on so strongly as military spouses.
Mute yourself because I can hear you.
Kind of shrunk. So, it was interesting. It was stressful. We're doing okay now. We've kind of hit a groove. Our kids are still virtual schooling, which is a challenge for me. The education gene skipped me in my family. My mom is an educator, my sister as well. And I didn't get it. So she was luckily able to remote help with some of the schooling for the kids. But now, especially being a working mom and trying to kind of hold on to a semblance of a career that, as you know, Dr. Biden, I've had to fight and scrap for as a military spouse, has been really, really, really tricky as well. So, we're doing the best we can. I think it's the day-to-day that is the most exhausting, though, just the logistics. And even having the support now at home has been immensely helpful with him returning, from overseas. But it's kind of everyone's struggle right now is the day to day.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
really moms, it falls on the moms, I think, more than the dads. The moms are the ones who are trying to put this all together, are the glue. I think the moms are the glue of the family. And they're the ones that, arrange the meals and are doing most of the Zoom and handling their own career and making sure everyone is safe and making sure everyone in the family is safe. So, it falls to the mom's shoulders. It really does.
For sure. I think, Kellie, your experience is so relatable to so many of the moms watching right now. Like you said, we are all just trying to balance the virtual learning, our own jobs, on top of the day-to-day challenges that this pandemic has created. Dr. Biden, could you talk a little bit about how President Biden would bring us back from this pandemic and get our children back into the classroom safely?
Yes, I'd love to, since I am an educator. So, this, it's so important to me, as you know. Nobody wants to be back in the classroom more than educators do. And, but the first thing is we have to get this virus under control. We have to listen to the doctors and the scientists. And so that makes, we have to make sure that everybody has access to, COVID testing. That's imperative. And, and make sure that the future vaccine is safe and effective. And, we have to protect our communities. So that's Joe. As an educator, I love Joe's education plan. And I have to say, I made sure that he heard me, since I've been teaching for 36 years and at what's so important in the schools. And we have to make sure that our schools have the correct guidance and the support. Think about it. When the kids go to school, what if they forget their mask? Or what if they forget, what if they need to have gloves at their desk? Or what if things need to be, the desks need to be socially distanced? Like I've seen that in a lot of schools where I visited, and the kids are in little desks of 4. There's so much is needed to give the resources to the schools so that we can get our kids back safely and our educators back safely. Because, there's so much to do. And I love that you already called him President Biden. So anyway, and one of the things that's, I think, truly important that I have found over the years is the need for more mental health support. What I've heard from educators is they're saying to me, hey, Jill, it already was tough for our kids before the pandemic. And now not only are our kids coming back to school, but then they're coming back, child abuse is on the rise, domestic abuse is on the rise, food insecurity. I've seen it over and over again. And our kids are filled with anxiety, and, they're not sure what's going on. And they feel, I think, they just feel the chaos of this moment, and they're going to need help. And so the teachers are going to need help, because not only are you teaching your subject matter, you're handling all this other stress as well. And I know that I teach at the other end of the spectrum. I'm a community college professor, but it doesn't matter whether you're 6 years old or whether you're, 22 years old. You still have these anxieties. And, we've seen the inequities in the system. And this has shown, so many kids don't have broadband. So many kids don't have laptops. So there's so much we need to do to equalize education across this country. And so I don't know, Michaela, you want me to get, this is my thing. I love education and I want to get this right. And I want to thank all the educators who are on this call, because you know what? They are trying so hard. And I recently talked to one educator who went around to parents' homes because the parents didn't know how to use the laptops, sat in her car and yelled at the parents on the porches, "This is how you turn it on. This is how you log in." Amazing.
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 And that's incredible.
Yeah.
It's really the educators who are going the extra mile to get us through this crisis, whether it be in person or, innovation over online schooling. It's really, incredible. Let's talk now a little bit about specifically the work that you're doing, Kellie, supporting military families right now. Tell us about your organization.
Yeah, so we move a lot as families. We PCS. It's called a PCS, or a permanent change of station, every 2 to 3 years, and it's kind of one of the allures to military life, but it's also one of the biggest challenges. Sometimes
Yeah.
I think it's unnecessarily stressful. The common misperception is that the military moves you and you just go from point A to point B, but there are so many little things along the way that we, the family, are kind of responsible. So my company, Millie, works to alleviate the stress of military relocations by providing information so people can make informed decisions and objective, relevant, informed decisions about where they're going to be moving. 70% of us live off the installation. We don't live in the gate. Mostly. We're living in the communities. We're going to your schools in the civilian community. We are looking for work in the civilian community. So we try to help open some of those doors and kind of just widen the aperture of what's possible for military families when they're doing their research online, because that's predominantly what we do under compressed timeline with limited, if no, on the ground resources available to us. So we try to help kind of bridge all of those gaps and be there and build a community as well for folks who just need information like, hey, who's been to Fort Bragg? Can you tell me all the things? And we try to be there for people doing that. So,
Well, Kellie, this is the thing. I don't think a lot of people understand the military experience or don't know another military family. So when you talk about moving, people don't realize you move not like once or twice, you move
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8 times. And what that means is your kids are moving classrooms, they're moving different sports teams, you're going to different churches. Everything changes in your life, in a child's life. And yes, that has its advantages and that the kids can be flexible. But you know what? It's so hard to give up your best friend when you're 7 years old, or maybe you're the star of the track team, or whatever it is. And I don't think Americans really know the sacrifices that military families make. So,
thank you for
we
acknowledging
have to get that out there a little bit more about how tough and resilient you are. And like our son, Bo, was Delaware Army National Guard, and he lived in a neighborhood. And a lot of none of his neighbors really knew anyone in the military. And when I went to my little Natalie's school, his daughter, I mean, I loved what one of the teachers did, because the kids didn't know, what does that mean? Natalie's daddy is in Iraq. What does that mean? And so the teacher put outside the door of the classroom a picture of Bo's unit, so that when the kids went into their classroom, they say, oh, there's Bo's, there's Natalie's daddy, and he's in Iraq, he's in war. So just to create this awareness, I think we have to do a better job at that, I think.
Awareness is so important. I feel like, and thank you for really, letting us know why, this military family issue is really personal for you, Dr. Biden. And on a personal note, to close out our session, we want everyone to take a look at this letter up on the screen. Okay. It says, my name is Hannah Artis, and I'm 10 years old. I'm really into politics, so much that I am park president. I hope that you become the next first lady, and I will do my part to encourage others to vote. Hannah. Now, for everyone watching, this letter was written by 10-year-old Hannah, who happens to be Kellie's daughter, and she's with us today to ask Dr. Biden our final question.
Well, Hannah, before I start, can I say thank you for my necklace? I love this.
Thank you for wearing it.
Yes, of course. I wear it all the time. Thank you. That's so thoughtful of you. But go ahead, ask me your question, Hannah.
So I've been telling everyone I know to register to vote and then to vote for kids like me. What do you tell people who ask what they can do to help? People
have to go out and vote. They must. So thank you for doing that, because you know what? I know you're so informed, and there's so many kids like you who are really worried about a lot of things going on, like climate change. Like I bet you're really informed about climate change and what's going on, and education. And you see kids in your class maybe who don't have, maybe don't have meals, or are struggling with, taking class online. So I really appreciate that you are so involved in your community and taking responsibility and getting other people involved. And, Hannah, when I was in the White House, when I was second lady, Michelle Obama and I worked together, and we had joining forces we created to help military families. And so we asked people to go to their strengths, to just, do something kind. Acts of kindness mean everything, as you probably well know. So, so you can tell people, Hannah, you can tell people to maybe stick
Yes.
a note in somebody's mailbox, maybe take over a pizza on a Friday, maybe make cookies for them. Just these little acts of kindness. I have to say, when my son Bo was deployed to Iraq and we had a big snowstorm and his wife and children were home, someone came over and shoveled their driveway, didn't say one word about it. But my daughter-in-law looked out the window, and there was this guy just shoveling, and then he walked away, never said a word. I mean, that's the kind of kindness, that I know that Americans want to do. Like, they want to help military families. So I tell everybody, go to your strengths and do it this week. Don't wait. Find out who's in your church that's a military family, who's in your neighborhood, who's in your school, and then commit to an act of kindness. There's nothing better.
That's such a great way to end off. I think, when I see young girls like this, I am so hopeful for our future. So I want to thank both of you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you to all of you who tuned in. And I want to say, on behalf of everyone, now go out there and vote like a mother so that every family can live, work, and thrive. Good
Yes.
night.
Good night. Thank you.